Hey, welcome to the Omaha Magazine podcast. It's about all of us, where we highlight Omaha business and community leaders, arts and culture, and where to dine and play. I'm Gil Cohen, Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Omaha Magazine. Today we have serial entrepreneur Van Deeb and owner and president of Prime Realty. If you're looking for a path to success in whatever business venture you're in, Van has over 40 years of commission-only sales experience. And these skills he's picked up over the years can help any young entrepreneur get on the right path. Welcome, Van, to the Omaha Magazine podcast. It's about all of us. I'm glad you're here. As I mentioned, Van is the founder and president and CEO and developer of Prime Real Estate. That's your new company.
Yep.
Could you tell us a little bit about the new company?
So basically it's rebranding. After I sold Deeb Realty, which is Nebraska Realty, 14 years ago, I opened up another, I thought I was going to retire, and that lasted about 30 minutes. So I opened up Big Omaha Realty, and I picked Big Omaha because back then the chamber was promoting By the Big O. So I thought I'd piggyback and call it Big Omaha Realty. And then I got bored with it, and I kept it just me, myself, and I, and then gradually a couple of agents. And then last year, I've said for the last several years, if I can get a good leadership team together, I'll build another firm. And so I interviewed Gil. I can't tell you how many people I interviewed over the last 5 years of really good leaders, and nobody really got me excited. Mm-hmm. And finally, I met a couple of women that really got me excited about their leadership qualities and skills. And before you know it, they joined me, and I wanted to rebrand for this new company. I've always loved the name Prime.
Okay.
And so thanks to the state of Nebraska and them working with me on it, I secured the name Prime Realty, and there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. You grew up in Omaha.
Yes.
Burke, correct?
Went to Burke High because they wouldn't let me into Marion. Unfortunately.
Well, unless you went for the prom, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd like to see Van in a dress, but
Well,
I don't know.
I have one in the car. I can be glad to get it.
And then you attended UNO.
Yes.
Right? And we know we have a mutual friend in common, your old coach.
Yes, Sandy Buddha. My
Great
football
guy.
coach in college. Just he taught me discipline, and that carried over into my business life.
Yeah. So then you graduated, and did you move to Dallas right after graduation?
Yeah,
or?
so Dallas, Texas was the #1 real estate market in the United States in 1983. And so I went there, and I didn't know anybody. Well, the first thing they tell you when you get into real estate is call everybody you know and say, hey, I'm in real estate. Please refer me. Well, I didn't know anybody, so I didn't have to call anybody. So I had to learn what the definition of cold calling and talking to strangers and begging for business. And I cut my teeth in Dallas, Texas in real estate in 1983. Gil, I became addicted to it. When I say addicted, I could not take a day off. I loved it so much. Built a gigantic name for myself down there. I had billboards. I was all over the city. And then, Gil, I became a father several years later, and for family reasons, I decided to pack it all up after being in Dallas for 10 years and moved back to Omaha and started completely over in 1993.
But you knew people here. It was probably a little bit easier.
Oh my
than
gosh, it
starting
was
over. But
Gil, it was a blessing. I got to meet you, and but no, I've got all my old college buddies, high school buddies, family, friends of family. They rallied behind me. I went to work for a very large firm in Omaha when I first got back, and our philosophies and the way I think real estate should be done was completely different. I have a philosophy that if the agents say jump, the broker says how high. And that was not the case, and they're great companies, but I wanted to create a culture of the agent, the agent is in control.
Right.
And so that culture caught on quickly. I opened up Van Deeb Realtors, which later changed to Deeb Realty. which later changed to Nebraska Realty. And now they have Andy Alloway, who's an unbelievable CEO, is running Nebraska Realty. And I think they're like one of the biggest in the state now. So I'm really proud of them.
And Van and I go back 30 years.
Yeah, we do.
So you were already back in Omaha about 2 or 3 years before you and I met. Actually, I just realized that you and I were in Texas at the same time because I was in San Antonio in '83.
Did not know that.
Yeah, with Marriott, and you would have been in Dallas, but of course I didn't know you then.
I'll tell you, I got to tell this story. Is my mother, I think it was in '95, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was.
She goes, honey, I met this wonderful man, and I think you guys would become great friends. You ought to look him up. And I'll never forget, she gave me your card, and I just called you out of the blue and said, hey, my mom thinks you're cool. And I remember coming to your office for the very first time. I was
managing the Clubhouse Inn there.
Yep, over in Miracle Hills. Yeah. I remember sitting down in front of your desk, and we talked, and before you know it, you and I became best friends. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
We've been good friends ever since. Great friends ever since.
Ever since, yeah. I mean, there wasn't Van without Gil when we'd go out. It was just fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So let's chat a little bit about becoming an entrepreneur. Obviously, you've started a couple of different businesses, and I want to kind of gear this segment to maybe 25 or 26, when that kind of age group. Somebody that says, "Hey, I want to branch out on my own. I want to do my own thing." There's two roads you could travel. My opinion is you traveled the road less, or you went down the road less traveled. I took the one with the potholes and the ruts.
Yeah.
But, we've been able to kind of become successful on our own, in our own
Especially
way.
you.
Well, I didn't start a business, but, I did once. But anyway, that's a whole other story. Yeah. So there's somebody in their mid-20s or whatever, maybe out of college, or maybe they've had a short career for a little while, and now they go, okay, I can either take that jump or I can stay safe in the corporate structure I'm in. How do you differentiate that? How do you take that leap?
It's a mindset. My philosophy isn't for everybody. Mm-hmm. My philosophy is for people that are determined not to be average. Mm-hmm. My philosophy is for people that say, I want the best out of this life that I've been given. And so to me, the components to be that person is you've got to have the drive, desire, and determination. But number one is discipline. Mm-hmm. Is you've got to have the discipline. If it's a good idea to go to your office at 8, get there at 6:30. Mm-hmm. If you go to lunch with your friends for a couple hours, make it an hour. You're losing valuable time by not being innovative, creative, and productive. So being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of components besides getting your business started. One is, there's a saying that Jim Rohn really made it popular, a great motivational speaker, but a lot of people did, is you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Mm-hmm. So when I was in my 20s, I got that.
Okay.
I really believed that. So I tried to surround myself around people, not basically rich and wealthy people, which is what I wanted to be. I'll just be honest with you. I didn't experience money. I grew up in a family that we were spoiled to death with love, but we had no money. Mm-hmm. I mean, all my friends had these fancy bikes when, growing up, and I had a bike that looked like it was out of the Wizard of Oz.
You think that's kind of common with entrepreneurs, that sometimes that it seems like most of them grew up in a fairly modest family and they want to do something more better?
I think so. I think the hardest working and the people that have the most desire are maybe people that didn't have it growing up, and they saw other people that did. That was my mindset. And I became a follower of motivational speakers, which I never did. Mm-hmm. And there was one thing that I read in 1983 when I first got in straight commission business. That's my 41st year now in real estate. Is Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, said, if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. That stuck with me for the rest of my life. So I preach that when I do my motivational speaking and to the associates at Prime Realty. If you want something bad enough, live it in your head. See what that's going to be like if you work hard to get to this goal. Live it. touch it and see it in your mind. And then once you see that picture, create a plan, create a discipline to help you get there, a plan of attack, work ethic. If entrepreneurs, getting back to your question to the young 25 and 26-year-olds, if you master the 4-letter word, WORK, you will get to where you want to go. And then there's the other components. Be sincere, be honest, be knowledgeable about what you're doing. Knowledge is power. And young people need to be knowledgeable more than anybody, because you're in my business, when I'm a young guy selling people's biggest investment of their life, I got to know my stuff.
And knowledge is also, I would think, ties into credibility too. I mean, you can't, you can baffle them with a bunch of stuff, and if you are not honest with them, they're gonna. So you really, that knowledge part of knowing your business and knowing the right questions to ask, or having the answers to the questions.
And Gil, that's why you're so successful. Is people know Gil Cohn is a hard worker. They know that you're a really hard worker. Well, people like...
We have Van Fooled here, apparently.
We love to give business to hard workers. People like to give business to people that are drinking the water. And you have to ask for it. These young entrepreneurs, you can't sit and wait. This is why I wrote a book called The Power of Asking. It got to me.
We have here.
It got me to where I want to go. And I want
only one of 3 books that Van wrote. 3, right?
I've actually written 6.
Okay. I only have 3 here.
It's just 5 of them nobody read. No, I'm just kidding.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but so we have to learn to ask people for help. But in order for people to help you, you've got to be that person that people want to help. For instance, Gil, if I call you on Monday morning at 10 o'clock, it's because I want to talk to you Monday at 10. I don't want you to call me Thursday and say, hey, Van, I'm sorry, I've been busy the last 3 days.
Right.
My biggest asset, because I don't have any other skills better than anybody else. I just created them, and I capitalized on what I know I could be good at. One is I know how to respect people. I get back to people immediately. I want one of the number one ways that you can show people that you're worthy when you're asking for business is be respectful. And I teach
Absolutely.
that. I teach that to the young entrepreneurs is don't text them, don't email them, call them, because nobody else is doing it.
Or write them a note or something.
Handwritten notes are part of big part of my life.
I still do that now.
I do that. As soon as I meet somebody, like if I'm going over to talk to them about selling their house, or if I'm going to speak to their company, the first thing I do when I get back to my office is to write them a handwritten note. That, it shows that they matter.
So let's move on to, so that's a big part of building your own reputation, et cetera. But you were also very involved in the Omaha community as well. And I think that's an important part of becoming well-known and et cetera. Why don't you talk a little bit about your involvement with nonprofits and some of the things that you've done?
Thank you. So, and just like you, Gil, we've done several together. We've even chaired some events together, you and I. But you know what? To me, it's the community that brings you to the dance. So why not dance with the community? So I believe in getting back, getting involved. I started this campaign back in Dallas, Texas, and then I brought it to Omaha with me, where I sit on top of a roof, and I won't come down till I raise so much money for children's
grandmother's
hospital.
On, was that 90th?
You helped me with it back in the 90s. Yeah, you used to help me with it, where people would drop off money.
I think Bob Carey paid you to stay up there, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah, because it got. And even companies in Omaha would say, "Hey, we'll give Children's Hospital this amount if you'll do it on our roof next year." It was a really, really cool event, but.
Woodman Tower would have been off limits, all right.
I'm scared of heights, bro. Woodman Tower is not happening.
No.
But I'll tell you, I believe that all of us should tie into a charity. Like right now, mine's Chariots for Hope. Love Chariots for Hope. But we all should be tied into giving back. Like on my 60th birthday party. I charged $25 a head, and all of it went to Chariots for Hope.
Yeah.
We have the ability to do things, and we raised $9,000 that day for
great.
Chariots for Hope. So I believe that we all have if we have the ability to ask for business, we have the ability to benefit others.
Yeah.
And so, I picked Children's Hospital because when my daughter was born, it was a complicated delivery. I'm still sore. No, I'm just kidding. But when my daughter was born,
I got caught off guard there.
Yeah, there you go. When my daughter was born, it was a complicated delivery, and I wrote all the doctors' thank you notes. And then I'm starting to think, what else can I do for Children's Hospital to show my appreciation? So I started raising money for them.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun on some of those.
We did, and I think you came up on the roof with me.
I don't know about that.
I don't remember, but yeah. So it was. We all have the ability. I mean, I even encourage people, your kids. Or a school, like these young people that are getting in business, find something that's dear to you. If you had a grandfather that died of cancer, maybe you're going to raise money for the Cancer Institute. Or if somebody had a stroke, maybe the Stroke Foundation or whatever. If your kid goes to a grade school, go see the principal and say, is there anything in your school that you need $1,000 for, and I'll go out and raise it. Right. When people know that you're involved in the community, they want to give you business. I had a competitor, won't mention names, say to me, the only reason that you raise money for other entities in Omaha is to get your name out there. And I said, okay. What's your question?
I
mean, I'm one of these. I admit it. I love raising money for charities, but I also love promoting my business.
Well, didn't you, you had for a local business magazine several years ago, you had a column, I believe. And then I think you also did a radio show for a while.
I've got a radio show now called The Journey.
Another one now, yeah.
But I started doing radio shows. I had a TV show back in the 90s. I just love, I love getting the word out about what we have the ability to do.
All right. And so, I think one of the challenges or one of the things that keeps people from becoming an entrepreneur is the fear of making a mistake. Is there anything that you would have done different in what you're, to where you're at now, looking back and say, is there anything you would have done different, or what do you think might have been your worst mistake?
Yeah, so Gil, I would say I was that person that would fear making a mistake. And if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I'd go, make all the mistakes you can and learn from them. Don't be bummed out.
Don't make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, never make the same mistake twice. Always learn from your mistakes. Pay attention to what other people, I pay attention to what other people in my industry are doing, not just what they're doing right, but what they're doing wrong, because that's still an education. So, don't have any regrets. I'd say the biggest regret that I would have in my life would be I didn't create balance. I just wanted to work. I woke up every morning going, thank the good Lord, I'm here. I'm ready to go kick some butt. I just want, and I'm still 41 years later being on straight commission, I still wake up wanting to go.
Yeah. Well, it's a lifestyle now. It's right.
Makes me happy.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. And here's the thing in my season where I'm at now is what's more important to me now is what can I do to help other people become successful? And that's kind of what I'm doing at Prime. I mean, I've got everybody in the right seats, all the leadership people in the right seats. So all my job is to help the real estate associates at Prime fulfill their dreams. That's all I'm doing is just counseling them to become the best at what they do.
And that's another thing that budding entrepreneurs, or really any business, anybody in business should try to find a mentor. Yeah. And I know, I've told you this before, you've been a mentor to me for 30 years.
Oh, thanks,
different
Bill.
thing now. Have I listened to all your advice? Maybe not.
No, because you'd probably be in jail.
I still smoke cigars, so.
Yeah.
But look for that, look for a mentor or two or three, people that you can emulate the way they do business, how they handle themselves, things that they get involved in. And it's just like you said, you don't have to know the most successful people or hang around the most wealthiest people, just people that
are good humans.
Yeah.
And when you hear me say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, excuse me, it doesn't mean wealthy, like you said, 5 good humans, because we're going to take a little bit from everybody that we hang out with, and we're going to be part of that person. We may not know it, but we do.
Yeah. And
so make sure the people you're around are just good people.
Yeah, it makes a big difference in trying to keep yourself on that right path.
Yeah.
Hopefully we got some budding. These microphones are kind of weird, aren't they?
No, this is good. I want to sing. I want to sing some Motown.
We can do a little karaoke if you want. This is an open forum here. So.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a couple of the books that you've written.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
So I did bring two of them here. One of them is The Power of Asking.
Yes.
And I think that's a big part of, especially if you're in sales. There's certain businesses we don't necessarily have to ask for the business every day. Gas stations, they're not out there asking you to come to their gas station. Right. You need gas.
Yes.
But in real estate or in advertising.
Any service and sales, just like in your business. So I've written The Power of Asking, Common Sense Selling, 2 editions to Common Sense Selling, Selling from the Heart, and then I did a real estate specific book called 23 Crucial Points to Guarantee Your Success in Real Estate. And then my favorite book,
if you don't mind grabbing
no,
it here.
please do.
This is my favorite Van book. Baxter is his dog.
Yeah.
And his first dog at 59.
I got my first dog at 59 and a half years old. And I've had him now for 5 years. I got him at 2 months old, and I am in love.
That's great.
I feel like Forrest Gump.
I've met him several times. He's a good little dog.
Yeah, I feel like Forrest Gump. I walk around going, I know what love is. But I love you, Jenny. His name is Baxter. I named him Baxter because
of the Baxter Arena?
No.
Because you buy all your cars from Baxter?
Because of Anchorman.
Okay.
Will Ferrell's dog name was Baxter.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that.
But yeah, I wrote a picture book about Baxter and all these wonderful pictures and some dialogue, and you can get all these at vandeeb.com. 2-day delivery.
He'll drive it over himself.
If I want to save it, it's cost me a couple bucks to mail it, so yeah, I might do that.
So let's switch gears for a little bit here,
okay.
Because obviously you're back in the real estate. You never really were out of the real estate business,
left.
But now you're back in full force. Depending on when this episode airs, I think the mortgage interest rates right now we're hovering over 7% as of today. And what do you tell somebody that's trying to buy a house now? How do you?
Same advice I've been telling him since day one. So let's use current events. So last November-ish, they were saying rates are going to drop in June of 2024. So we had all these people that are waiting. I can't tell you how many people are waiting until June to buy a house. Totally against my advice. Mm-hmm. My advice is secure the price, secure the home, and then if the rates drop, refinance.
Yeah.
So what happened is in April of 2024, the spring of April, they came out with the new indications that the economy isn't where they thought it was going to be. Inflation has rose a lot more than they thought. Yeah, so now they've completely reversed it, and they say they're going to raise the rates in 2024. So now we've got a little bit of a frenzy of people who are like, I got to get out there and find something. Yeah. But the best time to buy real estate is when you find the house you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the best time because you're not going to lose. And traditionally, when rates go down, prices go up.
Right. Yeah. So I remember when I bought my first house, I think I paid 9%. Yep. And refinanced it probably 4 times. Finally got it down to, I don't know, maybe it was 5 or 6.
Yep.
Got the new house, got it at 3%. So you can, don't be afraid to take that step, that leap. If, like you said, if you like the house and that's the one you want, buy it because you can always manipulate things. Or the interest rates could go to 15%, and you're sitting there going, hey, 7% is not a bad deal.
Right. Yeah, right? You're exactly right. There could be wars that break out. Something could happen to our economy. Rates could climb. When I got in the business, Gil, in 1983, rates were 17.5%. Mm-hmm. They dropped to 15, I remember, a couple of years later, and people were going nuts to buy houses.
Trying to buy a house.
But yeah, I just say a bird in the hand. If you find the house you want, go for it.
Go for it.
The benefits are more with you than against you. But I really want to emphasize people need to turn to the right professionals. It's just like when you're going to advertise your business. They need to turn to you because you know about advertising. You know how to increase ROI for your clients. Mm-hmm. Same thing in real estate. You got to go to a knowledgeable real estate agent, and so they will guide you correctly. there's people in every industry that really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So make sure you've got somebody that's extremely knowledgeable guiding you in the right direction.
Yeah, because it's a big, I mean, that's probably the single biggest purchase anybody's going to make
For most of
their
us.
home.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you pay for, you could pay $100,000, you could pay, $10 million.
Yeah.
It's probably the single largest purchase you're
It
going
is.
to make.
You're
so you
exactly
want to make
right.
sure you have all the information. So
You're exactly right.
Well, very cool. Well, this has been great. I love having you on the podcast. And if you're a budding entrepreneur out there and you want to contact Van and kind of get some tips on how to what to do or how you can help them, vandeeb.com.
Yeah, vandeeb.com. And I do a lot of public events that's open to the public. There's several in 2024. Feel free to reach out to me. You can get contact with me through vandeeb.com, or my email is van@vandeeb.com, and I pride myself on getting back to people immediately. With their question.
Yeah, I think that's really the most important thing is to if you what I garner from what you're telling our audience is if you don't take an interest, you're going to lose the business.
Exactly. Right. And Gil, I want to tell you, I've learned a lot from you over the course of our 30-year friendship.
Somebody has.
No, you've always been at the top of your game. You've always been really, really good at what you do, and I've learned from you. So I advise entrepreneurs also to spend some time with Gil Cohen and learn more about how to be successful.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. So, all right, Van. Hey, thanks a lot. It was great having you as our guest this afternoon or morning or whenever you're watching the podcast.
Whatever day it is.
Whatever it is. Yeah. We have the sunrise or the sunset in the background here.
Right.
So it could be either dawn or dusk.
That's right.
Depending on what they're doing. Yeah. So hey, continued success.
Thank you.
With Prime Real Estate. And, just keep doing what you're doing. And I appreciate your friendship and your mentorship. And thanks for coming on the show today.
I'm a big fan of yours. Thank you, Gil Cohen. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thanks again for joining us on today's episode. And remember to hit that like and subscribe button so you'll never miss out on future episodes.